A warm, sunny Saturday in July 1965, and for 200 of the finest apprentices in the world, the cream of the master craftsmen of the future, all routes lead to Glasgow, the heart and pulse of Scotland's industrial economy. They came from 10 different countries scattered far across the world, from Japan, from Germany, from Italy, from Spain, from Switzerland and Holland and Portugal, from Belgium, from Ireland, from England. They converged on Scotland to take part in the Apprentices Olympics, the 14th International Apprentice Competition, being held for the first time in the United Kingdom, sponsored by the City and Guilds of London Institute. In Glasgow, they found themselves in the center of a great technological complex of industry and commerce. Here they discovered the great engineering firms that made Glasgow built a hallmark of fine craftsmanship, the huge steelworks that supply Scotland's expanding industry. A river city, and before getting down to the serious work of the competitions themselves, they had time to see one of Britain's major ports, the cradle of some of the world's mightiest ships, for it was on the slipways of the River Clyde that the great Atlantic liners were born. They found a warm, bustling city of 1 million people, a city of teeming streets and quiet acres of tranquil parks. It was in the city chambers, the civic centre of the city of Glasgow with its marble halls and Byzantine interiors, that the opening ceremony of the competition took place. And as in the Olympics of athletics, this Olympiad of craftsmanship opened with a ceremony involving the flags of all the competing countries. It was Mr. William Ross, the Secretary of State for Scotland, who declared the competition open.
May the competitors, as they look at Scotland and its beauties and its past in company with those of other nations, appreciate that links can be forged that will endure. And as they go around and see the new buildings, Hunterston Power Station, the beauties of the new Forth Road Bridge, may they see too that from their skill can also come new forms of industrial beauty. And this being spread the world over, the world in friendship can become a world in prosperity. To you all, I wish good luck. To the organizers of the competition, may this be one of the finest you've ever had. And I trust that all in Scotland will make you feel at home whilst you are here. I'm very happy to declare open the Apprentices International Competition for 1965.
And with that, the 200 competitors got down to their work. Each apprentice had been selected from regional and national competitions in their own countries. Now they were competing in 30 different competitions for a gold, silver, or bronze medal to become international champions in 25 different trades. From Portugal, Eusebio Matos Raposo came to take part in the radio and TV tests, pitting his skills against apprentices from Belgium, Germany, Japan, and Britain. Industrial wiring had 8 competitors. House wiring was split into 2 sections. This was one of several trades in which there were both senior and junior sections. In future Olympiads, there will be only 1 category in each trade. But the ultra-modern techniques and materials of the electronics age were matched by the traditional, age-old skills of the silversmith, like Ramos Ruiz from Spain. and of the jeweler, like August Perkemeyer from West Germany. Electric and gas welding have an immensely important part to play in the constructional industries of the 60s. The turning of metal, one of the basic skills in engineering practice. Turners from Ireland, Spain, Italy, Germany, Belgium, and Britain had 22 hours in which to fashion a spindle. All these tests were held in the Stowe College of Engineering, one of 3 Glasgow colleges of technical education allocated for this international competition. Nearby, in newly built Barmulloch College, other tests were being held. The same atmosphere of tense, absorbed concentration as Toshio Watanabe from Japan and Thomas Gray from Ireland work on their test pieces in the pattern-making section. Foundry molding had competitors like Antonio Radau Nora from Spain. In the next room, Keith Rodney from the United Kingdom was pouring his casting. One of the competitors in the metal fabricating contest was Adriano Sisch from Holland. The third competition centre was the College of Building that towers over the main civic square of Glasgow. Here, new and traditional building skills were tested. Painting and decorating, using a Scottish motif for the set piece. Plastering, included in these Olympics for the first time this year. Bricklaying. Plumbing. This is part of the test piece to assess their skill at pipe bending and joining. Joinery. Carpentry. All the traditional crafts of the house builder, and not forgetting cabinet making. After the fierce concentration of the day's labours, the apprentices returned to their Olympic villages, 2 university halls of residence in which they could get to know one another with no language difficulties. And after a snatch of relaxation at the traditional summer fair in Glasgow Green, it was back to work again, and a chance of comparing different ways of doing things, different tools for the job. Each nation has its own way of doing things. Compare, for instance, the different shapes and sizes of the trowels used by competitors from different countries. The Japanese use saws that are unfamiliar to British craftsmen. And they use a different procedure for assembling a TV subchassis, building it up in separate blocks rather than piece by piece. They use special belts so that all their tools are always to hand. and see how this Japanese competitor uses a file. It's distinctly different in technique from the style used by this German apprentice. The attention to detail is absolute. Kenzie Sasaki, in the milling section, was unhappy about his vise because it didn't appear to come within limits acceptable to him. He knew that everything would ultimately depend on the accuracy of his preliminary alignment, and so it was immediately replaced for him. And once the job was underway to his satisfaction, a scrupulous attention to constant cleanliness, every piece carefully dusted off at each stage of the operation. At the end of the time allocated for the tests, between 22 and 35 hours, depending on the complexity of the task, the workpieces were assessed by technical juries who had drawn up the tests a week before the competitions began. Each country taking part in the competition was allowed to nominate 4 technical experts to take part in the judging. In awarding points, they took into account the accuracy of fundamental dimension, of secondary dimension, of utilization of material, of appearance, and of finish. The standards were extremely high and the competition keen. In one section, the 2 best test pieces were so closely matched that the panel couldn't separate them and eventually decided to award 2 gold medals. And while the technical juries were busy deciding the destination of the medals, the competitors themselves had 6 days of waiting for the results. And they put them to good purpose, learning more about the technological achievements of Scotland, the huge hydroelectric schemes that harness the turbulent water power of the Highlands. The Highlands, in fact, start right on Glasgow's doorstep. Only half an hour away is the most famous stretch of water in the world, Bonnie Loch Lomond. On the other side of the country, just outside Edinburgh, they saw the newly completed Forth Road Bridge, a delicate thread of spun steel beside the fretwork solidity of the old railway bridge. They found time to wander through Edinburgh, ancient capital of Scotland and home of the International Festival of Music and Drama. And they saw the new towns as well, like East Kilbride with its traffic-free shopping centre. But it was the famous industrial enterprises of the central belt of Scotland that interested them most, naturally enough. The burgeoning new electronics industries and the even newer motor manufacturing industry. The biggest cotton thread mill in the world. The modernized shipyards of the Clyde. And while the 200 apprentices enjoyed a busman's holiday, the International Council was busy each day ratifying the work of the technical juries with a representative from a different nation in the chair every day. On the final day, the United Kingdom representative was in the chair as the International Council set the seal of its authority on the ultimate destination of the many awards. And so once again, the competitors all assembled in the city chambers for the medal ceremonies. And to emphasize the importance of these apprentices' Olympics for the industrial future, the British Minister of Labour, Mr. Ray Gunter, is there to make the presentations. As proudly as any Olympic athletes, they take their places on the rostrum to receive their medals, gold and silver and bronze. Young fitters from Germany, Spain and Ireland who have proved themselves the best in their particular skill. A young British turner brings distinction to the firm that trained him by being the second apprentice from it to win a gold medal. A Scottish apprentice wins a silver medal for electric welding.
That we have been enabled to gather what you might almost call some of the best from 10 countries to reveal their skills. And in this world of technological change, when the skills and the crafts of our youngsters maybe will be so different from the skills and crafts of their fathers, it is good and it is warming to know that there is still a host of a younger generation who are adapting and learning the disciplines of life by learning the crafts of industry and the new skills. And I wish them well. It only remains for me now to declare the competition closed. And to all of you, I wish you a safe journey home, a happy career in front of you, and may the blessing of peace be amongst all the nations.
And in the College of Building, the prize-winning workpieces go on display, tangible and lasting proof of the immense skill and ability of the world's youth today. In his message of welcome, the Duke of Edinburgh had written, "This is an age of science and a time of great technological progress in every field of human activity. This means that traditional as well as new crafts and skills are immensely important to the changing and growing requirements of modern industry. I am sure that the young people who are gathered in Glasgow in friendly rivalry will demonstrate that they can meet any demands which the future may make of them. You have come to Glasgow to display your skill and to represent your country, but I hope you will take back with you a wider understanding and many new friendships." The new friendships were cemented at a final reception and ball at the Civic Chambers for all the competitors. Here on their last evening, they could let their hair down after the stresses of the competition and see a last glimpse of the traditional Scotland. And next day they were off back to their homelands, winners and losers alike, the winners to display their medals with pride, the losers, who knows, already determined to pit their skills at the 15th International Apprentice Competition in Holland. But in reality, there are no losers at these Olympics. After a crowded and strenuous fortnight, They're going back home the richer for having taken part.